Hello everyone, my name is Jamin here. This will be something different from me, but it's a very much needed video. If you don't know who I am, well, I've been playing Overwatch since open beta. I've been in Master since Season 2, and then I climbed to GM for the first time in Season 5. Since then, I've hit and finished top 500 multiple times. I'm just known in ranks as a Junkrat one-trick, and a brief time May. I'm making this video to bring light issues of a game I care for a lot, and I have a lot of fun memories from, and I want to keep this game from crumbling into dust. This video is highly targeted towards the high ranks of Overwatch and its state currently, but this does also impact everyone else in the health and the state of the game. Overwatch has been a great experience for me and has helped me make a lot of great friends along the way, from other like-minded players, other one-tricks, semi-pros, to even large content creators. And I think it's a good time to address this when there is a big shadow. A very large shadow. Pretty much an eclipse at this point, making a lot of these mainstream competitive games quaking in their boots. This is a good thing though, because new competition in the market makes everyone else either step up their game, so it's more attractive for people to stay, either by surprising for new modes, new features, or, which I really hope Blizzard do, listen to their long-time players. The past few major changes Overwatch has made has had a massive impact on the influx of the ranking system, meaning SR is now split into 3 roles: tank, support, and DPS. This was a welcome change for the community since a lot of issues were ironed out. There was awkward situations which had 5 tank mains on your team, or 4 mercy mains on your team. Now people can play in their comfort zones, at the rank that they belong at for each of those roles. I also welcome this change, because I did feel like I'd want to grind these roles too at some point, without the need to buy another account for something that I can now just queue as that role, with a whole new rank for them. But these changes have brought a whole new set of issues at the higher ranks that really mess with the game balance. This is fairly important to bring up since this brings other issues with how top 500 now works, and how people in ranked treat the game nowadays. And if you see my Twitter, then you'll know exactly how much I'm annoyed at how the system has slowly ruined the game over time. Not just for me, but for a lot of other players. Role queue might have brought a better experience for people where everyone can now queue the role they want to play, but one major issue came of it, which is partly the fault of the metas at the time as well, and that is very sudden jumps in SR over a few seasons. And I'm not talking of, this guy was 200 SR lower last season. Jumps like this are fine since a main tank player, for example, now doesn't need a solo tank, or struggle with 5 DPS, 1 healer. People climbing is very much acceptable now. I'm more talking about, this guy was low diamond before role queue, and now he's 4200 because of a recent meta. This is normally because the meta involves fairly easy and abusable heroes, like with double barrier meta, where during role queue, when it first came out, this meta gave these easy tank heroes that had high shielding, range damage, and extremely powerful abilities a lot of room for error without much punishment. This just made it harder after the meta changed, where you'd have a lot of these Orisa and Sigma one-tricks, essentially trying to play heroes like Ryan, Winston, Zarya, and D.Va, and they can't do a thing. They get farmed by other tank players, they position badly, they waste their shields, and they feed a lot. Other heroes during this time had the same effect. Moira was one, since healing was blocked by double barrier, and Moira's ult and heal orbs became necessary. The hero had no kit except damage and heals and a fade ability, so it was fairly easy to pick up, so a lot of support players from Diamond got to Grandmaster pretty easily on this hero too. There is also an issue where, unless you're a new account during role queue, when role queue was first introduced, people that have been one-tricks for season placed their off roles, aka the roles they've never flexed to, were given the exact same rank as their main role. This should never have been a thing. I have barely played tank, and if I do, it's half tanks like Roadhog. But the game looked at my last tank games before role queue and thought, yes, this guy won a tank game in Grandmaster, he deserves Grandmaster. This should not work like this. I should have been placed in Diamond or Masters, and I should have to prove that I can climb to the rank itself, and not the opposite, where I place high and rank down and ruin other people's games. I do have solutions to this, but I will discuss all of them towards the end of the video. Next issue is a bundle package. Top 500. Top 500 now has 3 separate ladders for each role. I'll be honest, I don't mind this change at all. It's a bit fun to say now there's more top 1500 players. But the major issue with top 500 right now is that SR, and now top 500 has 0 decay. You do not lose top 500 if you haven't played in 5 days, where previously, even if you had a high enough SR, you would lose your leaderboard spot for not playing decay games. Why is this a major issue? Why bring it up? And why should the community care? Well, even though top 500 camping has been a thing for many seasons, some top 500 players in the past have only done their decay games. Now you can play 25 games carefully, get a good rank, and stop. Maybe grind it a bit higher from time to time, but people mostly play on other accounts or new accounts. If you're knowledgeable on roughly where top 500 finishes each season, you can just stop playing and just camp. The downside is the influx of alt accounts and multiple top 500 accounts. They tried to stop this by forcing 2-factor authentication for it, but clearly people with money will just buy burner SIM cards, burner phones, use family phones, and enable multiple accounts regardless. I don't mind multiple accounts in top 500. I do have a problem with the sheer amount of alt accounts that people play on these days. When all the high ranked accounts are in a comfortable spot, new accounts are born. There have been a large influx of these new accounts ever since. Some are hackers, and some are just bored players not risking their 4400 plus accounts. Even if they don't get these accounts to have authentication for top 500, it's just another account that they will play on to keep warmed up on. And as most of these accounts start from Diamond when they're new, they're also legally smurfing their way back through their high ranks to create a new GM account. Another issue comes into play with these new accounts, where you can use these accounts to deliberately sabotage other people's games. Overwatch high ranked is like your local pub. Sometimes you see some new faces, but most people you've known for a long time, for years. And drama happens. Sometimes really bad drama. Sometimes just, I don't like this guy, I'll throw his game on my new account. Or, I don't like him, I'm glad on my off roll, I can throw his game. It's been a thing with streamers for a long time, but in the background it also happens off stream with many other players. And it's not as obvious as you think. You'd see someone go for an extremely bad play, or do something as simple as take a fight that they shouldn't go for, all deliberately to lose a fight. I know people have done this and have honestly told me that they've thrown someone's game because they don't like someone. I won't say names, mainly because they have reformed and they now have a better mindset towards ranked. You could be a one-trick, a normal player, a main of a quirky hero, or a streamer. It doesn't matter. If you've upset a few people, you're on their radar. People that can hold grudges for years over small stuff, as I've experienced. In the past few weeks, my games have been hard thrown by people. One day I was 4200, and then even playing at my best, I dropped to 3800. So many low-level anonymous accounts were out of voice, typing GG we lose after a few fights, doing extremely bad plays, and then blaming everyone else. Which ended up with me renaming my main account, and something I don't like doing, but I set my account to private. And, no word of a lie, as soon as I did, I won 10 games in a row and got Grandmaster back easily. Enough said on how bad the current situation is. The next issue with no decay is that, because you're in no need to grind main accounts, an underground thing people do is boost and sell accounts. It's been known for ages, and it's kind of why to this day, if I see a low GM account, I know what it is for 90% of the time. They do this as a side job. It sucks to see, but as long as people are buying new Overwatch accounts from Blizzard, they don't care too much for this. And lastly, the one issue that has been a major highlight of these past few seasons is hackers. A ton of them. At the time of recording this, it's not as bad, but a month ago, it felt like every third game there was a low-level account that was private profiled, just aimbotting for fun. Nothing detected them. I'm going to suggest you go watch this video here by a man called GamerDoc, link in the description. He runs a dedicated Discord and Twitter called Overwatch Police Department, and this man has put so much effort into fighting the problem for the community, going as far as sending the devs information of how the hacks are exploiting the game, infiltrating the discords that sell these premium cheats, and diving into their code to figure out how it works. The sad part is, Blizzard still haven't fixed this. Even when you have a man that's that dedicated that he might as well be an unpaid employee at this point. So, a massive thanks from me personally, GamerDoc, for going this far. You have a massive respect from me, and your dedication is appreciated. Thank you so much. If you're not a Grandmaster player, and you question why all these collective issues I've brought up matter to you, then they kinda should. The content creators to the streamers that play in these high ranked areas, the pillars of the Overwatch community that keep this game alive, if they're not happy with how it's treated, then people just move on to other stuff. In conclusion, I loved Overwatch. I loved the lore, the heroes, the interactions between heroes, all the doofy skins that they've released over the years. It's a game where people can find a hero they like, a playstyle they enjoy, something that they're good at regardless if you have good aim, good reflexes, team leading capabilities, you name it. All the heroes I like in some way, and the balancing is very close to being perfect for all heroes. There is something for every player. And the sad part is, the high ranks don't have alternative options like CSGO do. Things like Faceit and ESEA, so it's a strain for us when the ladder is in this state. At this current time, people are just sitting around and hoping that Overwatch 2 fixes most of these issues in the future. Even if you don't fully agree on what I'm about to say next for fixing these issues, I would also like to see some feedback in the comments to see what your thoughts are, or anything that can improve my suggestions. I am very interested to hear. First of all, something people have been asking in the high ranks for a long time, people have been asking for an MMR reset. I feel an MMR reset, at least for the high ranks, is needed, resetting everyone above Masters to the border of Masters. Especially how the current hero balance is pretty close to being perfect, and everyone's at an agreeable point. Before I mained Overwatch, I used to be a massive CSGO player, which is kind of funny to say, but this Junkrat one trick used to be an extremely good global elite player in a name-based game. The ranking in that game felt good because winning and losing didn't exactly impact us much. It just made us focus on the game, focus on winning games. CSGO didn't have a number tied to your rank. It was just a badge. Overwatch is never about rank. It's about whose peak is higher, what's your current SR. This should never been in the game to begin with. It's turned this game into a toxic mess over time. I always meme people when they talk about their peak in Overwatch because it means nothing. I'm 4-6-12 peak back in Season 7, what of it? I'm just a memer in Overwatch that looks Junkrat. I'm here to push this hero to its limits. But people care more for this virtual number, and more in particular are ruining other people's numbers. It's got to that state. Stream sniping streamers and ruining their games. I feel the SR should also become a part of the MMR, something we don't see. Just a badge is all we should see. So people focus more on the game than their own virtual number. Not being tilted or pressured on how close they are to X rank or how close they are to top 500, it should be a mystery. On top of this, Decay should come back, even with the already proposed change of hiding the SR. I feel the game shouldn't reward placement accounts that only play 25 games and get free top 500. Yes, it will be chaotic to do with 3 roles, tough shit. If you want to be high ranked in all roles, then you should be expected to have to grind them all. I'd even suggest enforcing people to play 35 games per role, just because I feel 25 is way too low. There should also be a more visual way to know how many games you need to play to stop Decay each week for each role. So even if you wanted to camp top 500, then at least you know how many games you have to play. I don't mind people SR camping, but at least force them to play throughout the season, or at least make them play in the last few weeks for the people that barely care about the game. I'm going to link a video in the description by The Score Esports on one extreme case by a good friend of mine, Arge. The man has a good mentality for what he's been through. It just highlights the extremes of what people will do to ruin someone's SR in Overwatch. One last ideal change, seasons should last longer than 2 months. Season 5 and before used to be a 3-month season, and honestly, it should return to that. It gives people a longer time to grind each season out. Will all of my suggestions fix every issue I've brought up? No, it won't. It'll only drastically reduce the amount of alt accounts that are throwing games, new accounts that are being boosted, and the account selling that is currently going on in the high ranks of Overwatch. And that's the most important part. I've seen a lot on Twitter from professional players, content creators and streamers with their twitlongers about their departure from Overwatch to Valorant. But so far we've only seen footage from a closed private beta that streamers only the other day showed us the VODs from. For me, I don't know. I'm only a small Overwatch streamer. I empathise with the large streamers that are going through this headache, as their problems are scaled on a much larger level, especially if streaming is their job and Overwatch is their main game. The game in the past few weeks has become a larger frustration than anything enjoyable, and I'll be honest, I've brute forced myself to play it. It's the only way my stream has grown, and it's such a sad thing to say. Most people at the moment are not enjoying the game. People want to watch and see more Overwatch, but the people at the high ranked aren't having that much fun. All the games on my main account feel really bad. My alt account, that's a lot higher than my main, has way more fun, and it shouldn't be like that. I recently started playing a lot of Modern Warfare's Battle Royale, and it's been a shining beacon in the dark for me. I am also excited for Valorant. After playing so much Overwatch for the past 5 years and CSGO prior to that, Valorant seems to be a shorter and faster paced Counter-Strike with a twist, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Though, I'm not concluding I'm 100% done with Overwatch. I might play and stream it from time to time, but I need to play it a lot less since it's been putting a negative impact on my mindset. I might only duo queue with friends. Some of the best games I've had are in duos when we can at least have a laugh and enjoy the game regardless of winning or losing.
All for you. You can't do anything.
I can see that.
He tries to sit on you.
I see. I'm just evading them for you. This is fucking hilarious.
Incoming fire. Okay. I fucking hooked it! I fucking hooked it, Jamin! I can't play because I'm laughing!
Heck, even messing around with the buggy Overwatch on Switch is a laugh to play. BT Soz. There's a guy with his TTV. Oh, fuck's sake. Come on. Hey, there we are. Second. Sadly though, the game is on its hinges and Blizzard really don't care if it falls apart right now. Overwatch currently feels like my local high street, and Blizzard is my local council. The place is a mess. There's a lot of chewed up gum stuck to the floor, it looks horrible and no one likes it. Yes, you can come with a sweeper from time to time and clear up all the litter, but at the end of the day, you need real drastic changes and investment to get it 100% clean. But currently, Blizzard are looking towards investment in a big shiny new shopping centre instead. Most people I feel are already prepared to leave town for good. There is this new town called Valorant that has a lot on offer that people want right now. This is aimed at Blizzard Entertainment. I really hope you step up your game very soon, because, like a lot of people, we're at breaking point with this game. We want to love it, but you've neglected it for way too long. Anyway guys, thank you for listening.